Thanks to EA for sponsoring this video. Hey lovelies, it's Kate. Welcome back to another Sims 4 speed build. It's time for another Adventure Awaits build. I decided to build a cozy family home. This build has a walkout basement, so there is a lot of stuff going on when it comes to creating this build and the architecture. And I had so much fun building this after working on the kids camp and the gigantic mansion. I also wanted to build a cozy, beautiful family home. Before we continue, remember to use code EMERALD when shopping Sims 4 packs to support me and my channel. Add a pack to your cart, enter EMERALD and apply the code. You can also use my code for the upcoming Adventure Awaits expansion pack. Thank you so much for your support. So let's talk about the build. I basically built the main part first and I then simply used the arrows to lower it into the ground. You can here see that I'm still adjusting the height. And I then added a foundation piece or floor piece at the top to create the shape. I also used platforms, which is always such a struggle when you're using the lowest wall height, because then I feel like the walls get ridiculously low. I wanted to have this bridge in the center, which is connecting the two main parts of the building. This is going to be a dining room, and I simply used the base game glass wallpaper for this. I then removed the ceiling completely and used the small base game fence to create some type of trellis, and I then used a glass roof because I of course had to close the room so rain wouldn't be an issue, and we also want to have proper lighting on the inside, so I used a glass roof, which is a very simple way to close up a room like this. I then added the pool in the center because look at this, it's looking so cool. It's kind of below the bridge, and I also wanted to have a little lake, and I wanted to create the illusion of the lake being connected to the pool. At first I wanted to have a watercolor for both, for the pool and the lake, which is more natural and dark, but I didn't really like it. I'm not too happy with the color options we have for the water at this point, especially in the base game. I'm always using the one from Get Together, the beautiful blue one, like it's really bright blue with a slight greenish tint. But yeah, this is just the base game and Adventure Awaits. And what I'm personally awaiting, or what I'm hoping for, is a new water swatch. We didn't get one in such a long time, and I just wish we would get more option in some type of update or in a pack maybe. And here I'm just shaping the house more. I added a balcony in the back and also lots of pillars, and I then used the spandrels to create this look. I used the windows from the new pack, and I then started to work on this area in the back. I wanted to have this area where you could sit and hang out and you could enjoy the view right above the water, and I had such a hard time with this. I made so many changes to this. I wanted this area to look kind of into the same direction as the little greenhouse you can see on the left, but then it wasn't looking right, and when I changed it to this shape and this direction, it also wasn't working, so I made so many changes to this until I was really happy with this. Eventually I settled on a direction, and I also added these fences from Debug because they were just perfect for the look that I was going for. I also wanted to add a chair and then also this fire pit, and I had to remove some of the chairs because when you are using all of the slots, the Sims aren't able to actually access the fire pit and sit down. So I learned this when playtesting this, so I had to remove some of the chairs, but I think it looks cute this way, but sadly you just have to remove them. I then used lots of debug rocks from Adventure Awaits to decorate all the slopes because, you know, if you are not new here, I don't like exposed slopes. I like to decorate them. I like to use the flat base game bush. I like to use the debug rocks, different things, and I also found this wood plank, which is part of Adventure Awaits again in debug. I love a good walkout basement build, you know this, but the layout was kind of tricky because I used the terrain tools and this lot isn't super big. As I said, after the kids camp and the big mansion, I wanted to build a proper family mansion, and you can here see that I'm using floor pieces to kind of make sense of the layout because I didn't want to have the slope right behind the greenhouse area, so I simply added some floor pieces because you can actually also basically manipulate terrain by using floor pieces. I then found some plants in debug, but this was a little too much. I feel like there's so much going on because I eventually settled on this water swatch for the pond, and there's like so much happening. All the debug rocks, the flat base game bush for the slope, so I removed some of them, and I then started to furnish. I wanted this to be super cozy on the inside, but I still wanted to maintain a modern vibe because I feel like this is exactly what the exterior embodies. It's very cozy but also modern because of the big windows, the glass wallpaper and stuff. And I also feel like the windows from the pack kind of give a modern vibe. You know, I love to build cabins. I've built so many in Granite Falls, and for this pack or in this world you can also build cabins or lodges, and this style is just perfect for this. And sometimes when you work on a cabin, it easily kind of moves into a more modern direction. I feel like cabins are like the perfect mix of modern architecture and rustic architecture because they have these huge windows most of the time, and I love this mix of styles, and I feel like here for this house it's kind of similar, even though it's not like a cabin or anything. And I also wanted to include a little bit of colors, so I used this base game wallpaper, which comes in a blue swatch, like the bricks on the wall or the subway tiles. That's what it is, I guess. And I also used some wooden wallpaper on the walls to make it more cozy, and I love the contrast between the windows and the blue wooden wallpaper, and I was trying to have the same contrast in the kitchen by using the base game counters, which have basically the same swatch as the windows of the same color. And I also tried to make the living room cozy, and I'm going to change the layout in a bit because I had a hard time figuring out how to place everything, and I really love the new furniture, maybe because I love cabin builds and this type of vibe, but it's just really awesome to have this type of furniture. I especially love the leather sofa, and generally it's awesome. I had a hard time figuring out which curtains to use, which swatch, where, and how to place them, but that's like a me issue. I always struggle when it comes to curtains, so I really had to figure this out. And there are lots of items in the base game which are very complementary to the new items we got in Adventure Awaits, in my opinion. So it was really easy and fun to furnish this. It's like not my biggest strengths. I really love to work on exteriors, and I have to say it's really easy to kind of furnish with this combination of items. It was really fun. And I then also added a bookshelf and just little details to decorate up there. And I also placed a dining table on the balcony, so it will be a little barbecue area. And the greenhouse, of course, it just had to be a greenhouse. I placed these planting pots, a table, and right next to this area we have the pool, which you already saw, the water slide, which is amazing. So it's kind of located down there and safe from rain. But then we also have this big outdoor area, which like has no roof above, and it's like so beautiful. I then added 2 bedrooms. This house is pretty compact, and I have to admit that I used a lot of space for landscaping and for making this look dreamy, but you could always make some changes to this, and you could also squeeze in more bedrooms or beds somewhere. But yeah, the way I thought of this is like one main bedroom for the parents, and then I added 1 kids room with like for siblings, 2 beds. And yeah, this is it. Here you can see lots of screenshots. I hope you've enjoyed this video and this kind of smaller build. I hope that you will have so much fun exploring Adventure Awaits very soon yourself. Let me know in the comments what you think of this build and the pack. I just want to hear from you. Leave a comment below, and I hope you're doing so well. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye bye.